Hello, today we are going to talk about the domain of a logarithmic function. The domain of a logarithmic function of the form f of x equals logarithm with base b of x is the set of all positive real numbers. In general, the domain of f of x equals logarithm with base b of g of x consists of all x for which g of x, that's the argument, greater than 0. So we know that logarithm is defined only for positive numbers. So let's consider some examples to find the domain. So find the domain. Here we have two examples. First one is f of x equals ln of 3 minus x. The second question is f of x equals logarithm with base 3 of x square minus 81. So let's consider the first question. So the domain of this function consists of all x for which 3 minus x greater than 0. So to solve for x, subtract 3. So minus x greater than negative 3. Divide both sides by negative 1. So the inequality sign will be reversed. So x is less than 3. So using the interval notation, we can write the domain as negative infinity to 3. Now let's consider this second example. So the domain of this function is the set of all x for which this part, that is the argument, x square minus 81 greater than 0. So you can see that this is a polynomial inequality. To solve the polynomial inequality, we need to find the boundary points, then set up the intervals, and find the test values and check the inequality for those test values. So to find the boundary points, let's factor the left side of the inequality. So this is difference of squares. So we can factor that as x plus 9 times x minus 9 greater than 0. So to find the boundary points, set each factor to 0. So x plus 9 equals 0. So the boundary point is x equals negative 9. When you set x minus 9 equals 0, then you will get x as 9. So the boundary points are negative 9 and positive 9. Now we need to set up the intervals using these points. Let's go to the next page. So when we plot these boundary points negative 9 and 9, these boundary points will divide this number line into 3 intervals, negative infinity to negative 9, and then negative 9 to 9. Then the third interval is 9 to infinity. So we need to take a test point and check the sign of x square minus 81, that is x plus 9 times. I am going to write the factored form x minus 9. So our inequality is this, greater than 0. So let's take some test points. So we can take negative 10 as a test point on this interval. Here you can consider 0, and here you can consider 10. When you substitute negative 10, so you will get a negative value here and also negative value. So the product is a positive value, and we know that our inequality is x plus 9 times x minus 9 greater than 0. So this interval will satisfy this inequality. And again, when you substitute 0, here 9 positive and a negative, so the product is negative, so it doesn't check because our inequality is greater than 0. And also for the third interval, let's consider 10. When you substitute for x, you will get a positive quantity here, and also here also a positive times positive quantity is positive, so this interval will also check. Okay. So this interval also will satisfy this inequality. So our question is find the domain of f of x equals logarithm with base 2 of x square minus 81. So the interval, so the domain is the set of all x for which x square minus 81 greater than 0. So the intervals that will satisfy this inequality are negative infinity to negative 9 and then 9 to infinity. So the domain of this logarithmic function is negative infinity to negative 9 union 9 to infinity. So that is the domain of this function. So hope you understood the problem. Thank you.